Welcome to Metadata and Metadata Tools. This training was produced by the State Electronic Records Initiative in coordination with the Council of State Archivists. Understanding metadata and utilizing it to preserve context is essential for any digital preservation effort. In this video, we'll explore the basic types of metadata, application and standards, and various tools that can help you achieve your metadata goals. What is metadata? Metadata is structured information that describes the context, content, and structure of a document and its management over time to aid users to find, manage, control, understand, or preserve information. Metadata is data about data, and it's everywhere. Metadata includes the location your photo was taken, as identified by the camera, and the name of a song on an audio file. It is present in the encoding of a website. An audit trail is technical metadata, and it can be seen on the date timestamp in Windows next to your Word document. Archivists use metadata for a variety of reasons. It can assist with discovery. For example, information displayed on finding aids is metadata. Robust metadata can help researchers find and understand collections. Metadata can assist with filtering and narrowing down research interests. It can aid with deep analysis of content. Metadata is transferable, comprising the backbone of many information-sharing protocols. Consistent and standardized metadata can help institutions transfer data efficiently and effectively. Metadata is machine actionable in that a program can read and act on metadata without human intervention. There are 4 basic types of metadata: descriptive, structural, technical, and administrative. Descriptive metadata is information that refers to the intellectual content of material, and its primary purpose is to aid discovery of such materials. A common example of descriptive metadata is the information found in a finding aid. Fields might include title, creator, and subject. Describing archives, a content standard, DAX, and resource description and access, RDA, are 2 examples of descriptive metadata standards. Structural metadata is information about the relationship between the parts that make up a compound object. That is, 2 or more objects bound, for example, by an XML structure. Sequence and relation are pieces of structural metadata. EAD and MARC are standards for structuring metadata. Technical metadata provides users and machines information about the technical specifications and context of the electronic record. Pieces of technical metadata include file format and application used in creation. Administrative metadata is data that is necessary to manage and use information resources and that is typically external to information content of resources. Administrative metadata captures the context necessary to understand information resources. It documents the life cycle of an electronic resource, including data about ordering, acquisition, maintenance, licensing, rights, ownership, and provenance. An audit trail is administrative metadata. At times, archivists identify preservation and rights metadata separately. Preservation metadata is the information about an item used to protect it from deterioration or destruction. It may record activities to protect or extend the life of the resource, such as reformatting. Events, significant properties, and preservation levels are all preservation metadata. Rights metadata is concerned with the limitations and restrictions regarding the access to and use of content. This could include licensing terms and copyright information. Metadata data formats allow for the description of metadata that can be read electronically. Data formats allow for the extraction, use, and calculation of metadata. XML is an abbreviation for Extensible Markup Language, a computer language for enriching data with information about structure and meaning. It is an open standard, defined by the World Wide Web Consortium and is platform-independent documents. XML allows machines to read the encoding of metadata structure and values for storage, machine processing, or exchange. It is similar to JSON and CSV. Metadata schemas are formal descriptions of a data structure. Schemas are bound by structural constraints. They are documented with data dictionaries. Elements have names and definitions. Encoded archival description, EAD, is technically a language but also a schema. Dublin Core, both core and qualified, are schemas. MARC, VRA Core, and PB Core are all schemas. Metadata Encoding and Transmission Standard, METS, and Metadata Object Description Schema, MODS, are also schemas. The METS schema is a standard for encoding descriptive, administrative, and structural metadata regarding objects within a digital library, expressed using the XML schema language of the World Wide Web Consortium. MODS is a schema for a bibliographic element set that may be used for a variety of purposes, and particularly for library applications. A controlled vocabulary is a list of terms used to aid discovery and information retrieval systems. Controlled vocabularies normalize descriptive terms, standardize groups, help to locate and identify related items, and are interoperable and facilitate exchange. Some examples of controlled vocabularies are the Library of Congress Name Authority file, Library of Congress subject headings, Library of Congress linked data, Art and Architecture Thesaurus Online, and Getty vocabularies. The Preservation Metadata Implementation Strategies Primus Data Dictionary is a comprehensive practical resource for implementing preservation metadata in digital preservation systems. It supports the viability, renderability, understandability, authenticity, and identity of digital objects in a preservation context. Represents the information most preservation repositories need to know to preserve digital materials over the long term. Emphasizes implementable metadata, rigorously defined, supported by guidelines for creation, management, and use, and oriented toward automated workflows, and embodies technical neutrality, no assumptions made about preservation technologies, strategies, metadata storage, and management, etc. There are numerous tools to help assist you with your metadata goals. Tools can characterize files, confirm validity of metadata, assist with access and discovery, transform descriptive metadata data for display, and many, many more applications. Oftentimes, descriptive metadata is captured on spreadsheets for processing in other programs or hand entry. At a later point, through a CSV or other mechanism, that data can be applied to an electronic finding aid, preservation systems, or other interoperable programs. Droid, developed by the National Archives UK, uses internal signatures to identify and report the specific file format and version of digital files. It is linked to the Pronom Technical Registry of File Formats. It is open source and can be downloaded for free. By allowing for the identification of exact file formats, it helps meet the requirements of a digital repository. By evaluating pieces of technical metadata, the tool assists with file integrity checks, deduping, and technical file assessment. Data Accessioner, developed by Duke University, is a simple tool with an easy-to-use graphic interface for migrating content between media while also creating and validating checksums, the digital fingerprint of an electronic record, gathering metadata via FITS, and compiling an XML metadata file with Primus metadata, with the option to include Dublin Core metadata as of version 1.0 for future reference. It captures technical and preservation metadata. You can also add descriptive metadata prior to transfer. File Analyzer, developed by the National Archives and Records Administration, can create checksums, create a count of file formats by type, and create a file inventory. It captures technical metadata to be used in a preservation system or elsewhere and can perform fixity checks. ArchiveSpace is an electronic finding aid that displays descriptive metadata to assist in access. It is interoperable and robust, allows filtering, sharing, and discovery. ArchiveSpace allows for the use of Primus metadata, events, agents, and rights. This slide provides links to resources institutions might find useful in capturing and utilizing metadata. Institutions may have varied approaches to metadata based on their individual needs and goals. This training was produced by the State Electronic Records Initiative in coordination with the Council of State Archivists. The Council of State Archivists is a nonprofit membership organization of the state and territorial government archives in the 50 states, 5 territories, and the District of Columbia. COSA began the State Electronic Records Initiative project in 2012 to address the long-term care and access of electronic records. For additional resources on electronic records preservation and management, please visit the State Electronic Records Initiative webpage.